Hello everyone. Welcome back to the probably last winter special for this year, and I couldn't possibly miss out on adding SemiShiraKawaGata to the mix, so enjoy! As always, special thanks to my lovely patrons, members, and all of you who still watch my videos. Don't forget to subscribe to keep up with the uploads, and check out the members only posts with jealousy and confession series. The falling snow behind the window was supposed to bring him joy. Shirabu knew that. And yet, the slowly falling snowflakes put a damper on the last remaining spark of good mood he had from just watching them from behind the window of their toasty apartment. He wasn't sure why he was in such a slump as of lately, though he mostly assigned it to his work as a byproduct of the hospital's horrible planning. Fortunately, he had a few free days ahead of him starting today, but somehow he still couldn't bring himself to relax. He wouldn't mind per se, already used to his body being on alert most of the time, if only his mood didn't cause issues for his boyfriends. You know, if you puff up just a little more, I think you might burst. Correction. If it didn't cause him issues in the form of his boyfriends, Hayato specifically. He swatted away the hand poking his cheek, grumbling under his breath about annoying dumbasses, which just made Hayato snicker. Come on now, a little bit of life, huh? It's snowing, you have a free day, we are all together. What more could you ask for? To be left alone. You would miss us, you know that. Shirabu wanted to retort something, but the snappy comeback died off on his tongue just as quickly. Not necessarily because he was worried about hurting his boyfriend's feelings with it, but because Semi was kinda right. As much as it would pain him to admit it out loud, his beloved's lively personalities were the only thing brightening his mood right now. And so he just huffed, turning his focus on the mug with tea in his hands while he continued to watch the slow snowfall. It's not all of us, though. He subconsciously glanced towards their bedroom door, behind which Taichi was catching up on sleep after working several long shifts in a row, feeling a tug of longing in his chest. They hadn't seen each other properly for days now, and he was starting to miss seeing Taichi's face. He hoped they could catch up now, but he couldn't put his own need above Taichi's well-being. And right now, Taichi needed to sleep. Large hand ruffled his hair. You'll see each other later. I know. It's just weird to go without even greeting for so long. Well, a reason more to get rid of that frown of yours. He pinched Shirabu's cheek, chuckling when Shirabu grumbled. We can do something fun in the meantime. Like what? Like going out. It would be a shame to sit home the whole day when the snow is so pretty. And cold. Don't be so squeamish. A little cold is good for immune system. Shirabu clicked his tongue, but stopped himself before noting that they had much bigger chance of getting sick than helping their immune system. Some things his dumbasses of boyfriends had to figure out on their own. And also, he didn't want to ruin their fun again. So much so that he didn't put up much of a fight when Hayato pulled him to his feet and nudged him to the hallway, obediently putting on his coat and scarf and following the two giggling idiots outside. Cold bit into his face the moment he stepped out of the door, but it wasn't the uncomfortable chill that came with super low temperatures. Still, he huddled deeper into the folds of his scarf before rolling his eyes at Hayato, who had already dove into the snow like there was no tomorrow. Careful. I am. It's so soft you can't even feel the fall. Sure. Half expecting Hayato to get up and throw him into the snow to show him, he braced himself on his heels, ready to fight. But Hayato just grinned at him from his snowy nest, throwing his arms and legs out to make a snow angel. He looked like a little kid, but Shirabu couldn't bring himself to comment on it. Not when his boyfriend was obviously having a great time. Without thinking about it, he collected a handful of snow and threw it in Semi's direction, earning a surprised yelp when the ball hit his chest. What was that for? You said you want to play, no? Speaking of, he was definitely playing with fire, challenging Semi's childish side. And yet, laugh escaped his mouth when he avoided a snowball chucked at him the next moment. Oh, you slippery little bugger. With a big grin on his face, he made another snowball, this time hitting the mark precisely. A rather embarrassing squeal left Shirabu's mouth, and then he was too busy dusting off the snow before it could get under his collar. That's what you get. Oh, really? Perhaps in surprise, or maybe because of the impact, Semi huffed when Shirabu pushed him into the pile of snow, his eyes widened in betrayal. Unfortunately for Shirabu, he didn't get to enjoy the satisfaction for long, as in the next second, he was mercilessly tackled right next to Semi. He swatted at Hayato to stop him from laughing, but against the libero's grip, he was powerless. And so he just shoved a fistful of snow into the man's face, quickly freeing himself and straddling his hips to gain at least some leverage. Prepare your last words. I'm exactly where I want to be. Feeling his cheeks flushing, Shirabu shoved more snow into Hayato's face to wipe the smirk from his mouth, yet didn't get up even when the chance presented itself. Much to Hayato's amusement, it seemed. You're such a pervert. Only when you run into it. He wrapped his arms around Shirabu's waist, pulling himself up to steal a kiss from him. You're too cute like this. Well, now I feel like a third wheel. He didn't sound dejected at all though, and soon rode over to be close to them. With a much softer grin, Hayato kissed him too, making Semi hum contentedly. Much better. Your greed sickens me. Yada yada, as if you aren't even worse. You're both horrible. He huddled back into his scarf, a sudden chill making him shiver. Semi smiled at him and helped him put the fabric tighter around his face, briefly caressing his cheeks. You're so cute all bundled up like this. Right? No one would say you're the most feisty one of us. Tsa! He wasn't allowed to pout for long, the two kisses landing on his cheeks melting away any grumpiness he might have felt. It warmed him from the inside, better than any heating system could. With all the bad mood going around recently, he could almost forget how nice it was to be carefree for a while. Something Hayato and Semi always knew how to make happen. He paused for a brief moment, a sudden urge to look up to their windows taking over him. But be it because of the mist rising from his mouth, or because they lived on the 5th floor, he couldn't see anything more than a tiny piece of their darkened apartment. What's up? I don't know. Just a feeling. You think Taichi's awake already? Hardly. It's been like 10 minutes since we left. He pulled Shirabu closer to him, nuzzling deep into his scarf. How about we build a snowman? The snow's nice and sticky, it would be a shame not to. I'm in. Of course you are. Despite his words, he reluctantly got up, somewhat looking forward to building the snowman too. Yet he couldn't help himself and looked up to their windows one more time, a strange feeling tugging in his chest. Maybe we could bring home some lunch. I don't want to bother with cooking today. That's not a bad idea. Fine, but snowman first. With a loving roll of his eyes, Shirabu held both of his dumbasses on their feet and soon joined them in rolling the large snowballs around to create a truly spectacular snowman, as Hayato put it. They found Taichi already awake when they returned, sitting on the couch with a mug of tea in his hands. Hayato made an immediate beeline to him, wrapping himself around him like an octopus, and Shirabu was just glad he wasn't the one carrying their food. You brought lunch? Yep. They had a lunch special, but we made sure there's stuff you like too. A tiny smile tucked in the corner of Taichi's mouth, but Shirabu was sure he didn't imagine the flash of surprise in his eyes just a split second before that. He didn't get any time to think about it though, as Semi was already delivering their respective meals to the coffee table, and Hayato kept Taichi busy with affection. Maybe it wasn't like that, and I'm just seeing things. It had to be the case. Why would Taichi be surprised they brought him food? It wasn't anything unusual. That said, he couldn't shake off the weird feeling that settled in his stomach. The urge to stay by Taichi's side and figure out what was wrong growing on strength within him. He watched Taichi while they ate, wondering if it was also just his imagination that Taichi was much quieter than usual. Sure, he never rambled and only sparsely laughed out loud, but this was different than his usual. He also barely raised his eyes from his bowl, only when one of them spoke directly to him, nibbling on his food as if he had to force himself to eat. It worried Shirabu a lot, reminding him of the moments when Taichi's anxiety spiked to the point he started to overthink everything. And so he stayed close to Taichi the whole time, no less than glued to his side even after they finished eating and Semi dragged Hayato to help him wash the dishes. Taichi didn't say a word against it, but this time Shirabu was absolutely sure he could feel how tense he was. Like a string ready to break with the least amount of pressure applied. Is everything okay? He was met with a startled look of the gentle brown eyes, further supporting his worry. Yes, why wouldn't it be? You are quiet, like more than usual. Did you take your meds? Or did something happen at work? No, He paused, a smile so forced it curled Shirabu's guts appearing on his lips. I'm just tired, I suppose. But I took the meds, I promise. Okay, that's good. They fell silent again, Taichi with his head hung low, and Shirabu with his mind racing, trying to come up with some explanation. He didn't want to pry, knowing he would just hurt Taichi even more if he pushed too much. But on the other hand, he couldn't let him suffer in silence. A frustrating stalemate indeed. He was just about to ask some more when Taichi spoke up again. You don't have to stay with me if you don't want to. Startled by how hollow Taichi's voice was, Shirabu grabbed his hand, squeezing tight in hopes to be reassuring. Taichi, I want to be here with you, why wouldn't I? He mentally cursed his thoughts for probably projecting into his posture and caressed the back of Taichi's hand, more than aware of the fear in Taichi's eyes. I want to sit here with you, okay? I'm just worried about what's happening. After a while that felt like a whole eternity, Taichi nodded and looked away, but kept his hand in Shirabu's grasp. His arm rotated a little with that motion, and that's when Shirabu's heart sped up the second time. Barely visible under the long sleeve, but still clear as day, ran bright red scratch marks along Taichi's forearm, deep enough he could see the broken capillaries through his skin. He was overthinking then, much more than Shirabu thought. But why? He didn't ask though, despite wanting nothing but to shake the answer out of Taichi if he had to, and just squeezed Taichi's hand tighter. Do you want to see the snowman we built? I mean, from the ground. This time, Taichi's smile was much softer, much more real. Gladly. Okay, let's go before those two catch up on it. It was a desperate attempt to lift Taichi's mood, but an attempt nonetheless. One that Shirabu hoped would ease at least some of the worries on Taichi's already troubled mind. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. It's been a while since SemiShiraKawaGata got a special, standalone or one-shot, let's say. So I hope you liked it, and I also want to start nudging this storyline forward. Let's see how well it's going to go, because you know me, I take a long time when it comes to the more angsty storylines. It takes ages, I know. I'm trying my best. If you have any requests or ideas, the request form is linked in the video description. See you next time.